What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another mock draft sort of video. I will be doing more of these if you guys want to see it. But when I say things, remember I am a fan looking in. I enjoy the sport just like many of you do. But we're going to be going over Bucky Brooks' mock draft today. If you're new to the channel, go ahead, like and subscribe. I promise I usually talk better than this, but really struggling right now. So for those of you who don't know, Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah, they have a podcast called Move the Sticks Podcast on Apple, and I'm sure every other podcasting platform. If you enjoy NFL football as much as I do, I would definitely go listen to their podcast. If you don't already, start now. But anyways, wanted to just highlight a little bit of who Bucky Brooks is, and I'll link all this down below in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Bucky Brooks, drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the second round. He played for 5 different teams. What I know him for the most is Brooks joined the Seattle Seahawks pro personnel department as a regional college scout. And now he is an analyst. So really big fan of Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah. It's not what I meant to do. But we'll go ahead and get into his mock draft. And I'll talk through every pick. Obviously, there are no trades in this. And I do want to say that I'm going to say what I agree with, what I disagree with. And everything I say, obviously, I don't know a whole lot, but I like to think I do. But I will try and rationalize some of the things that they put on here. So we'll start off here at number 1. Bucky Brooks has the Chicago Bears going with Will Anderson out of Alabama. And I will be reviewing Daniel Jeremiah's also, so be on the lookout for that as well. But Will Anderson, honestly, I can agree with this pick because I think Will Anderson is probably your best player in this draft. Jalen Carter has been getting a ton of hype just in the recent week or so. And I don't think both of them, realistically, both of them are really good football players. But I think if you're looking at positional value, I think Will Anderson makes the most sense. Now, when I say he makes the most sense, I think edge rush is one of the most coveted things in the league, and then quarterback. Those are your 2 most important positions, in my opinion. And I will talk more about it in Daniel Jeremiah's mock. But Daniel Jeremiah did indeed have Jalen Carter going at number 1 just because it's hard to find a guy like Jalen Carter. I think Jordan Davis should have been a top pick this last year. He's one of my favorite prospects. But I won't get into that. But I think Will Anderson going here. Bears need edge rush. They need a lot. Their team just really is not good. Justin Fields looks to be pretty good. They've got a few young pieces on that team, but I mean they really do need a whole lot on that team. And then we'll go ahead and move to number 2. Houston Texans take Bryce Young out of Alabama. Now, I like this pick. I think that Bryce Young, I'll reiterate it again. I think Bryce Young is good. He's not my favorite prospect necessarily. A little undersized. Not really for what he is, so I'll retract my statement. But I prefer quarterbacks that are a little bit bigger, have good arm strength, like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, I'm saying all the top guys, but you get what I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers even. I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan, but he's got an amazing arm and can still improvise. Bryce Young's a little bit smaller, so I retracted my statement just to say it again. I like him. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Alabama quarterbacks, and you could say the same thing about Ohio State quarterbacks, but I'm actually a fan of C.J. Stroud. I think he's got all the tangibles to be great. This is about Bryce Young. I mean, he's a baller. He's a great player. He puts up numbers. How much of that is the system and where he was? Now, I realize he didn't have super great weapons, like some of these past Alabama quarterbacks have had, but I don't know. I mean, he's going to be good. Like, he's not going to be a terrible player. And it's definitely better than Davis Mills. So, we'll go to the next pick. Jalen Carter at 3. I think this makes sense. He, like, literally what Bucky Brooks said. He's a freak athlete. I love interior pressure. I think Jalen Carter is going to be amazing. I think he may have had a couple injuries this season. I can't exactly remember, so don't quote me on that. But he's good. I mean, we could look at his bio if you want. Jalen Carter. Look at his stats. Personally, I was a Jordan Davis guy because he's 6'6", but 6'3", 300 pounds, 3 sacks on the interior. Guy's good, just honestly. Him and Will Anderson will probably be in that top 1-2 range, probably that 1 range if the Bears were to not trade down. But Will Anderson, so let me just calm down for a second. Somebody is going to have to leapfrog the Texans for the number 1 pick, okay? That's just inevitable, right? To get a quarterback. So somebody will do that. Texans will get whoever, and whoever trades up gets the other quarterback. You're probably going to have your pick of the litter of Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, and both of those guys, I mean, I think they're both great. Personally, I would lean maybe a little bit more towards Will Anderson just because of the edge pressure value. I digress. We will move on. Probably one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I am not an Ohio State fan. I am an Arkansas Razorback fan. So you cannot say that I'm biased. I would love if C.J. Stroud was a Colt. That team, I'm telling you, they are a quarterback away from being a really good football team. Now, the Jaguars probably going to pose a problem for them in the future. But, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman is all right. Alec Pierce seems to be pretty good. I love Jelani Woods. Big Jelani Woods fan. I mean, he's 6'7". Dude's massive. Got to get him in the game more. But C.J. Stroud, he looked really good against Georgia. I did watch that game. Guys, I really think C.J. Stroud is going to be a great player. And I'll die on the sword if he is not. But let's look at C.J. Stroud. Let's look at his stats for the season, okay? Now, size-wise, he's 6'3", so bigger quarterback, 218, not bad. I mean, weight, I'm not so much concerned on weight. People are also concerned with hand size with quarterbacks. I don't really care. If you can play, you can play. I think the tape proves a lot. Sure, height and stuff like that helps, but, I mean, guys, that game against Georgia, 23 for 34 for 348 and 4 touchdowns. Telling you, he's a baller. I will die on that sword. I think he's going to be good. The Colts have got to figure something out, though. If they do get C.J. Stroud, awesome. If they were to take somebody else and C.J. Stroud's still on the board, that's their fault, and they deserve to suck. We'll move on. I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit more. I feel like I've been talking quite a bit. Tyree Wilson, Seattle goes edge. I think this makes perfect sense. I think they roll with Geno for another year. Tyree Wilson will be another one that'll probably be high up in the draft where he's projected. Just a great edge player out of Texas Tech. I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him, so I can't really elaborate on that. But I totally agree. I think the Seahawks need help with the edge pressure. And with Detroit, I mean, there's a lot of things that I would like for Detroit. I think Brian Bresee, however you say it, high recruit coming out of high school. I think he was the number 1 prospect in my class, maybe. I think that's or a class after me, possibly. Has dealt with a little bit of injury stuff going on, and then off the field stuff with some family things that went on. I think the kid is a baller. I really like him. He poses more as a pass rushing defensive tackle, which is highly coveted in this league, which it being a passing league. So getting Breesy here, I mean, to add him with Aiden Hutchinson, I don't disagree with. I also think they, like Detroit, going a different route, whether that be offensive line or getting another edge rusher. If one of the big edge rushers were left, like if Tyree Wilson were there, probably go with him to have two phenomenal edge rushers. That makes sense to me, but I think Brian Breesy is a good pick. And the Raiders go offensive tackle here. They go Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. I actually like him better than the next pick. I like the size of Paris Johnson. I believe he is 6'7". Yeah, I mean, he's a monster of a man. He's listed at 6'6". I believe he was 6'7". Paris Johnson, he looked all right in the playoff game against Georgia. He did miss a couple blocks that I can recall in my head. It happens, obviously. He's a higher upside offensive tackle, in my opinion, than Peter Skoronski. I think Peter Skoronski will just go ahead and move to number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons, going offensive tackle. I think they've got more needs than that, but I think that's a good value pick. Peter Skoronski, he's been one that's been projected higher. He's been projected at 5, and then he's dropped to 8. They're saying that arm length is a concern with him. He just so happens to be from the same college as Rashawn Slater, who they were also worried about his arm length. And Rashawn Slater is debatably one of the best tackles in the league already. I think he's phenomenal. And saying he's one of the best, yeah, you could say, no, you're an idiot. But he is good. He's got a bright future. Was hurt this season, but, I mean, you saw they really did miss him. Once again, I don't know a whole lot about Skoronski. I didn't really watch Northwestern this year, but seeing the little bit I've seen from him, he looks to be a really good offensive tackle. Why not? I mean, Falcons have got a lot to figure out, and I think right here, Peter Skoronski, probably your best pick. And then we go Will Levis to the Panthers. He's a good athlete. I don't care for him as much. Just my opinion. He's a little bit older as well coming in. So, take it or leave it. Will Levis, he might be good. Literally, Bucky Brooks says, a boom or bust prospect with intriguing tools. There's been links with Tepper, I believe, with Will Levis as well. So I think this just makes a whole lot of sense. I think Bucky Brooks hit the nail on the head right there. Philadelphia picking at 6. Miles Murphy's a dog. I used to like Clemson football a lot. I don't care as much for them anymore because Dabo, I think the NIL stuff with him, like, being a baby about it, I just don't care for. So I don't really care for them as much. That's kind of off topic, but Miles Murphy, great edge rusher. Philadelphia has Hassan Reddick, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, missing one. Regardless, they've got a lot of good edge pressure. They could probably go corner here. I think they're going to lose James Bradbury, and Darius Slay isn't getting any younger. So, but again, top 10 pick, Miles Murphy, younger, good player, physical. I think it's a good pick. Personally, one of my favorite tackles in this draft class is Broderick Jones, redshirt sophomore for Georgia. He looked pretty good, I thought. Taylor Lewan probably out the building, cap casualty. Good offensive tackle, bring him right in, maybe plug him into left tackle probably, and go from there. Number 12, Quentin Johnston. He's 6'4", 215. Natural wide receiver 1 with big play potential. Personally, I love the size. I think he's got a high ceiling. But See a lot of drops. I saw a lot of drops in the national championship game. I realized that's a small sample size because, well, my offensive coordinator for the Razorbacks just went to TCU. So, good for him. But anyways, Quentin Johnston, I think if he can get the drops down, and granted, he was playing against Kelee Ringo, who's going to be a top pick in this draft. When I say top pick, I mean first round. This receiver class just isn't one that I'm like super psyched about, you know? So, yeah, he's probably the best pick here, just based off his size and athleticism. But Houston Texans get a playmaker. I like the move for them. And then we've got Osiris Torrance, interior offensive lineman out of Florida. Really wouldn't mind if the Steelers got him. Think he'd be a good Steeler based off the run game. But New York, I think they've got some bigger fish to fry other than interior offensive line. So we'll see. Now, I haven't seen this whole mock draft, and the fact that Michael Mayer is mocked to the New England Patriots is just awesome. I don't agree with it. We just paid Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. I realize they're not working out, but we're not going to cut them. They're getting paid too much. I would love if Michael Mayer came to the Pats. He would definitely be used and utilized like he should. Great tight end out of Notre Dame. Why not? But I don't agree with it. I think they go DB. I really do. Green Bay Packers go Brian Branch. That's who I actually think the Patriots will go with. Safety / corner. He'll play that nickel position. I also think Green Bay probably goes a different route here. I don't think they go corners or Brian Branch. I think if anything, they go with an actual corner like Joey Porter or somebody like that. But I don't think they necessarily need corner. To be honest with you, I think they should probably go with pass rush or shore up that offensive line. That's just me, though. Washington Commanders go Devin Witherspoon. I've been hearing a lot about him. I don't know enough about him to say anything, so I'm going to skip over this one. But the Commanders do need a corner. And then Joey Porter Jr., one of my favorite cornerback prospects in this class, goes to the Steelers. I think this would be phenomenal for them. They need corner, but I also think offensive line. If one of those tackles is on the board or Osiris Torrance, they'd be stupid not to take him. And then this is tied for one as my favorite corner. Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. I think this dude is a dog. I really like him. Same with Kelee Ringo. I like him as well. But Detroit getting 2 defensive players, I love it. Wow. Drew Sanders of Arkansas. So I am an Arkansas fan. I think this might be a little too high, but I do see the fit. I think Drew Sanders, he played really good. I think he was injured this year and played through it. Transferred from Alabama, came to Arkansas, and just absolutely lit it up for us. The dude's awesome. I think he can play about any position. I would prefer him probably at the Mike. He's a good pass rusher, but as a Mike backer, he does make a lot of plays. This would be a good pickup to pair with Devin White. And like I said, could use a young thumper with pass rush ability. Like I said, he can rush the passer. Seattle gets Jackson Smith-Njigba. I don't hate this. But I think quarterback's got to get figured out. I assume Geno comes back. Jackson Smith-Njigba with Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Be nice for whatever QB's there. Disagree with this. They just drafted Isaiah Spiller. They have Austin Eckler. I think Bijan could go anywhere in this draft. I think he's one of the best players in this draft prospect-wise, but running back is just so difficult to judge. But hey, I like Bijan up in this range. I think he's well worth it. So, whatever. So, I've been seeing this a lot. Anthony Richardson, to the Baltimore Ravens. If Lamar is indeed gone, Anthony Richardson will fill in perfectly. The one thing I will say, I love Anthony Richardson. I liked him at Florida, last year when he was kind of playing here and there. Really took over as a starter here this year. Everybody's saying he's got that Josh Allen ceiling. I can see it. Big guy, has the ability to extend plays. Cannon for an arm. I mean, I love this dude. As a Baltimore Raven, I could see it. He would be awesome as a Baltimore Raven, but I just don't see Lamar leaving. I really don't. Minnesota gets Cam Smith. He was projected pretty high earlier, but this cornerback stuff has look, Kelee Ringo is at 24 now. Those guys were at the top of some of the drafts at the very start, and now it's getting flipped around. So, I mean, really good cornerback class. We'll probably see a whole lot more movement as we go through. Zay Flowers out of Boston College. New York Giants do need receiver help. I don't know enough about Zay Flowers, but I have been seeing his name come up a lot recently. Seems to be a good player. We'll see towards the combine. And Dallas Cowboys go with Deonte Banks. I don't know Deonte Banks either. Let's see. Finding a partner for two-time Pro Bowler Trayvon Diggs is imperative after watching Dallas's cornerbacks who struggle this season. Let's look up Deonte Banks. What you got for us, Deonte? 6'2", 205. Had one interception this year, 25 solo tackles, 38 total, 8 pass deflections. So really lengthy corner. I do like that. I like my tall corners. Pair him with Trayvon Diggs. I mean, I like it. Jordan Addison to the Buffalo Bills. I like this. Stephon Diggs will stay. Gabe Davis is alright in my opinion, but you bring in Jordan Addison, he's just a different style compared to the two dudes that I've already said. I wouldn't like this because I have Khalil Shakir in a Dynasty League, but this isn't Dynasty. Jordan Addison on the Buffalo Bills would be awesome. He's really fast. Another one of my favorite prospects, Darnell Washington, just an absolutely huge dude going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Hayden Hurst has played good. I think he'll end up staying probably another year. But they could use Darnell Washington. Young tight end, bring him in. Build a rapport with Joe Burrow. I love Darnell Washington. He is a massive dude. He's like an extension to your tackle. And then Denver Broncos go Lucas Van Ness. Been hearing a lot about him. Edge rusher out of Iowa. I've got to look into him because he is projected high in a lot of mock drafts. He just declared. So this dude should be really good. And then Chiefs go Antonio Johnson. I mean, yeah, I don't hate this pick, but I feel like their DBs are already pretty good. I think they could probably benefit from taking B.J. Ojolari out of LSU, who's a great edge rusher, and I would love to see him go to a good team. But Antonio Johnson's a good player. I just don't think they necessarily need safety. And then the last pick, since the Dolphins have forfeited a pick, number 31, Philadelphia Eagles, replace Miles Sanders with Jahmyr Gibbs. Pass catching back. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is good. I think if Bijan was here, obviously this is where one of those last three teams would go. But Jahmyr Gibbs, good pass catcher, dynamic playmaker, really torched Arkansas when they played. So, yeah, that's going to conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed Bucky Brooks' mock draft. I will link everything down below. But, yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.